Hi. In India, 50 to 55% of the population are animal lovers, and 30 to 40% of people have pets at home. But there is 1% from this 30 to 40% who has not one, not two, but 1,50,000 pets of his own. Yes, I'm talking about Anant Ambani. This person has built a pet house in 3,000 acres in Jamanagar in Gujarat, and he calls it Vantara. There are nearly 2,000 exotic and endangered species which were procured from all over the world, around 32 countries, in the name of rescue and rehabilitation. Yes, Vantara has best healthcare facilities for animals, and that is commendable. There is an elephant, a temple elephant to be specific, called as Mahadevi or Madhuri. She had some health issues, and Bombay High Court has ordered to transfer Madhuri to Vantara so that she can get best health facilities. Public got upset over this, and they started digging upon Vantara. They started filing TILs. The Supreme Court has initiated a sit to fact check these accusations. Vantara was accused of smuggling and illegal procurement of exotic animals. There were many welfare concerns and regulatory non-compliance on financial irregularities, which also included money laundering and misuse of resources like freshwater resources within Vantara, plus carbon credits. The SIT has done its investigation, fact checking, and given its report to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has not only given a clean chit to Vantara but also praised Vantara. The statement says, there are certain things we probably feel are the pride of this country. We should not unnecessarily rake up all these matters and rise, hue, and cry for the sake of that. Allow certain good things to happen to the country. We should be happy about all these good things. If the accusation of an elephant is in accordance with the law, what is the difficulty? See, if somebody wants to acquire an elephant and he takes care of the provisions of law and acquires, what is wrong in it? True. What is wrong in it? No, there's nothing wrong in acquiring an elephant to give it best healthcare facilities, to give it the best treatment. No, there's nothing wrong. But we often miss to see the big picture. Not everything we see is as plain as it looks. Vantara might look like a heaven created for animals. It indeed is. But it doesn't stop there. This Vantara story reminds me of the Matsyavataram story in the Hindu mythology. Why am I relating it to that? I'll tell you why. Because in Matsyavataram story, Lord Vishnu comes as a fish and instructs a king named Satyavrat to gather all the species of all kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, every organism on this earth, and every seed of every plant, every crop. Why? Because there was a pralayam to come. And when the pralayam occurs, it will wash everything off of the face of the earth. And life needs to continue. And for that, Lord Vishnu asked Satyavrat to collect all the living data. You see the similarity? Three major things we have to focus on here. The first thing is forests. Second thing is water. Third thing is animals or life. Seems pretty simple, right? But it's actually not as simple as it seems. We'll go one by one. What natural resource do you think in say 30-40 years would be scarce, would be costlier than oil or petroleum? I would say water, fresh water. Vantara has its own freshwater resources, which they can capitalize and commercialize in the future. The second point is life. Like I've said, Vantara has a collection of nearly 2,000 exotic and endangered species. They are the DNA codes. They are the gold mines of future. Biotech, pharma, genetic coding, genetic cloning. This is practically a treasure for the Ambanis. And the third thing is forests. Why are forests so important? Forests are important because they are the lungs of this planet. We often hear the term climate change, global warming, environmental degradation on news. But do we actually understand the depth of it all? This is the real time pralayam that we are experiencing each day of our lives. Why is the global warming happening? In short, the amount of carbon dioxide or the greenhouse gases is increasing in the atmosphere, which would retain the heat. Hence, the global temperatures are rising. So, what is this connection to the Ambanis? There is, because the world is emphasizing on net zero emissions. India is actively moving towards net zero emissions. India is about to introduce carbon credit trade in 2026. What is carbon credit trade? Say I established a manufacturing unit or an industry, and my industry emits say 1000 units of carbon every day. So this 1000 units of carbon increases the global temperatures. Now, net zero emission is not only to reduce but also to balance out emissions. There are several ways to do this. One is you could reduce your emissions by using renewable energy resources, or second, you could buy carbon credits from other companies or governments or whatever sources. Third is I can buy a land, say 3000 acres, and plant trees all over, make it a forest, and the forest will absorb the carbon dioxide. Let's say my 3000 acre forest absorbs 3000 units of carbon every day. So I'm emitting 100 units and my forest is absorbing 3000 units. So I have balanced my emissions and I have 2000 units extra. So I can sell these 2000 carbon credits to other industries who are emitting. Herbert Spencer gave the survival of fittest, but this is the survival of richest, survival of smartest. I think Satyavrat has collected all the data, all the life, all the genetic data so that life on earth could continue. Life on earth could blossom again. The Ambanis in this case are doing it for themselves. This is capitalization and commercialization of resources masked as love for animals. The richest in the world are on a spree to get their hands on the resources they think would become scarce. For example, Bill Gates is the largest holder of private farmlands in the USA. There is a need for all of us to think, is this just conservation or is this biological commercialization? They are hijacking the life. Our lives are being taken into their control without our knowledge, which is why we should be aware of this subtle background missions to control the world. We all must think, we all must become aware. Until we meet again, namaste.